Okay, so this is going to be something new. It's called combining like terms, or sometimes it's just simplifying. We're not solving for x or y or anything like that. We're going to start by doing some integer practice. An integer, that's just a fancy way of saying a whole number. Now that whole number can be 2 or it can be -2, positive or negative, as long as it's a whole number. That's an integer. Now here we have -8 plus 5, and that is 3. Remember, you can plug all of these into your calculator and do those. 12, right here we have 12 minus 13, that's -1. I'm making a mess. Just want you to see we're not going to go through all of these. You should be pretty comfortable. I want you to look at this one. 15 plus parentheses -16 parentheses. That's the same, or 5, sorry. That's just the same as 5 minus 16. But you could plug it in the way it's written with all of that fun stuff, the parentheses and the negative, and you'll get the same answer. Now let's move on to the next one. The vocabulary. I want you to remember this. Numerical coefficient. So the coefficient, okay, remember that, is the number in front of the variable. And the variable can be x, it can be y, it can be z. And this is, if there is no number, the coefficient is 1. It's that invisible 1. So the first example, we have 4a, and the coefficient is 4. It's the number that's in front of that letter. The second one, we have 10xy. Coefficient is 10. The next one, we don't have anything there, so that, that coefficient, pressing all kinds of buttons, is that invisible 1 that we talked about last video. And the last one is -6. That is the coefficient. Do not drop that negative or you'll be in lots of bad trouble. Okay, another couple of few things. Like terms. Terms with the exact same variables. Coefficients don't matter, but variables. Or variables with the same exponents. Okay, I'm going to show you what that means. So, this first box right here, we have 4x and -10. So we have an x here and an x here. They're both the same variable. Those are like terms. Our second box, we have 15xy and 17xy. Those are both the same variables, so they're like terms. Third box, we have -2x squared y and 7x squared y. Once again, these are the same variables. Coefficients are different, and even we have a positive and negative because the variables are the exact same. They're like terms. And the last box, we have xy to the third, or -9xy to the third, and 13xy to the third. Those variables, exact same. We have x's that match, and we have y to the thirds that match. Doesn't matter that we have a positive and a negative there for the coefficients. That doesn't matter. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the variables, and make sure that if it's an x squared, if it's x squared y, you cannot have xy squared. Those are not the same. Okay, so let's see. We're deciding if they are like or unlike, L or U. So we have -4x and -10x. So we have this x and x. And they're both x's, just an x. So they are like. Next we have 13xy and 5y. So right here we have an xy, and right there we have a y. Those are not the same. They're different. Unlike, because the first one has an x and the second one just has a y. Okay, so now we have 5x squared and 9x. So this exponent is a squared, and honestly right here we have our favorite little invisible 1. So we have a 2 and a 1 for exponents. They're not the same, so it's a u. The next box, we have 9x squared y and 4x squared y. So we have the x squared there and the x squared there, and the y to the invisible 1 there, and a y to the invisible 1 there, and yes, they are like. Next box, we have 3x squared, or 3xy squared, and 7x squared y. So we're going to put our invisible ones there just so you can see. So we have x to the 1 power right here, and we have x to the 2 power, and already there. I see that they're unlike, so I'm not going to go further. I'm going to do a u. Last one, we have 17ab and negative 21ab, and they both only have an a and a b, so yes, they are like terms. Now here's the trick. We're going to skip that one. We can combine these like terms. So what I mean by that, it might say simplify the expression. What I mean by combining them is, see how we have a 5x squared plus a 9x squared minus a 12x squared, or, I'm going to say this again, 5x plus 9x minus 12. We can do combination of these. We can simplify them and combine them by dealing with this coefficient right here. We have 5 plus 9 minus 12, and you can plug that into your calculator. 5 plus 9 minus 12, and you're going to get 2, positive 2x, because you can't drop the coefficient there. That x goes with everything, so it's 2x. Now number 2, we have a 14x, and we have a 6x, but then we have just this 9 all alone. So these two are like terms. We can combine them. So 14x plus 6x is 20x. We can't drop that x. That 9 is all alone, so we're just going to write plus 9. And that's our answer right there. We're simplifying. It did not say solve. So since it didn't say solve, there's no equals. There's nothing to solve for. We're just going to try to combine them, make it look as neat and clean as possible. Going to give you 2 examples. So my suggestion to you is label your like terms. Okay, so we have a 9a squared, and let's look and see if there are any more a squareds. Well, yes, we do. We have a minus 11a squared, and that's all. So now we have a minus 6ab and a plus 10ab. So let's go ahead and combine them. So we have 9a squared minus 11a squared. So 9 minus 11 is negative 2a squared. And let's deal with the negative 6ab plus 10ab, and that would be plus 4ab. And that is our answer. Oops, that looks horrible. Right there. There's nothing more that I can do with that. I just have to leave it. Last example, we have a negative 6a and we have a plus 2a. Now let's look at, we have a that's a god-awful color, sorry. We have a plus 7, just a whole integer, a minus 4. Those will go together. And then we have a negative 3b and a plus b. Remember, there's that invisible 1 right there. So let's deal with these a's. Negative 6a plus 2 is negative 4a. Now let's deal with the b's. Negative 3b plus 1b is negative 2b. And the integers, 7 minus 4 is plus 3. And that is your answer right there. That's all you can do with it. This is your introduction to combining like terms.